Ever since the advent of the internet, the world has become a global village. It has changed the way we do everything. It is hard to imagine life without the internet. As a global platform, the internet has connected us in ways that we could not have imagined before. There is hardly anything you are looking for that you won't find on the internet. I mean, just ask Google. But what if I told you that there's more to the internet than meets the regular eye? When we come on the internet every day, we see the usual social news and activities that other people want us to see. That is just the surface. The internet has a deeper and hidden nest filled with dark and unseen activities that are not meant for public consumption. Welcome to the unseen of the internet, the dark web. In simple terms, the dark web is a mysterious place where anything can happen. And you might be wondering, does the dark web exist? Or is it one of those campfire stories told to spook people? Well, if you have ever heard about the dark web, then get ready to be surprised. But before we even begin talking about the dark web, you should know that the internet is categorized into 3 levels. First, we have the surface web. The surface web is what everyone knows as the World Wide Web. It is what we use daily, like Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and any social media. Since it is called the surface or visible web, it is relatively easy to find anything here. However, the surface web is a mere 10% of the entire web. So the almost 2 billion websites that can be accessed through search engines are just the tip of the iceberg. And while the number of websites on the internet keeps changing every second, most web pages remain hidden from the average everyday user because not all the information that can be accessed online is meant for public consumption. And so, this leads us to the next level of the web. The second category of the internet is called the deep web. Oftentimes, the deep web is mistaken for the dark web, but there's a difference. The deep web harbors content that cannot be indexed by search engines. If you can't find it on Google or other search engines, then it is technically on the deep web. But before you freak out, the deep web is not as mysterious as it sounds. It is simply the sites that you can access with a username and password. So whenever you log into your email, internet banking, or social media account, you are on the deep web. As you can see, the deep web is a part of our daily life and isn't all that mysterious. The third level of web, though, is where the dark stuff goes down. Just below the deep web and unseen to the public is a place known as the dark web. The dark web first emerged in 2009. However, no one can pinpoint its true origins. Unlike the surface web, which can be easily accessed, the dark web requires custom software before it can be accessed. The dark web uses a cluster of nodes and networks called darknets because none of the sites can be accessed through a standard browser. Instead, they communicate through small peer-to-peer networks that allow them to communicate anonymously. Now, let's talk about the custom software required to access the dark web. It's called the Tor browser. The Tor browser began just like all top-secret projects began. It was developed in the mid-1990s to protect US intelligence communications from prying eyes. Tor, which is short for the Onion router, uses a 3-layer encryption system and a specific internet trafficking routing mechanism to ensure complete anonymity. However, there are many other anonymous networks such as Freenet, I2P, and Riffle. And as if using the Tor browser is not anonymous enough, most browsers on the dark web are logged into a virtual private network, VPN, to further conceal themselves. At first, the dark web was the perfect place for users to do dangerous but not necessarily illegal work. It allowed journalists to protect their sources, whistleblowers could remain anonymous, and intelligence agencies could carry out discreet operations easily. But as anyone would expect, the dark web quickly festered to become a hotspot for a myriad of illicit activities. Cybercriminals and other malicious people rely on the capabilities of the dark web to carry out their dark acts. There are commercial darknet markets that allow the transaction of illegal goods and use Bitcoin as payment. On the dark web, you can buy things that you'd otherwise struggle to get on the surface web or in the regular world. So, not surprisingly, one category of goods that sells in huge amounts on the dark web is illegal drugs and other narcotics. The most notorious of all dark web marketplaces was Silk Road. Silk Road was founded by Ross Ulbricht in 2011, and it became the most popular black market. You could buy any illegal drug from cocaine to LSD. They also sold illegal items like guns and counterfeit cash. As the most popular black market, Silk Road had over 100,000 buyers and was a significant contributor to the growth that Bitcoin experienced since most of its customers paid with the digital asset. In 2013, though, the FBI shut down Silk Road and seized over $1 billion worth of Bitcoin. If you ever visited or even heard of the dark web, it doesn't necessarily mean you're safe. Dealings on the dark web could still affect you. These days, your personal information may seem invaluable to you, but if your data was stored in a company's database that was compromised, chances are that your data could be on sale somewhere on the dark web. Cybercriminals trade personal information for a couple of dollars. For instance, detail for credit cards carrying a balance of up to $1,000 could cost $150 on average. Stolen online banking login details for an account with a $100 balance could go for $40, and a Netflix account with a paid one-year subscription is worth $44. Interestingly, marketplaces on the dark web even feature rating and review systems. Therefore, potential buyers can identify reliable and trustworthy sellers. Besides selling personal data and stolen compromised data, the unseen internet is used to sell malicious software or malware or distributed denial of service, DDoS. With a DDoS, anyone can take almost any website or service temporarily offline. But there are darker things on the dark web than just stolen data and compromised accounts. Multiple hitmen services claim to be able to kill almost anyone in the world for as little as $5,000. Thankfully, some of these services have been revealed to be scams designed to make money from vindictive clients, but frighteningly, not all of them are scams. There have been several cases where contract killings were referred through the dark web. One incident was of a Russian policeman who was shot dead by two teenagers who were hired through a dark web website. Meanwhile, the mystery, anonymity, lack of regulation, and easy accessibility of the dark web have attracted several terrorist organizations. These groups take advantage of the chat platforms to plan terrorist attacks. What's more, some of these terrorist groups now post how-to guides that teach people how to become terrorists. In 2018, a man named Ahmed Sarsur was charged with attempting to purchase explosives and hire snipers to aid Syrian terrorists, all through the dark web. If you think the dark web is a horrible place, then wait till you hear of the Red Rooms. And no, it is not one of those rooms where they train children assassins. It is much worse. Red Rooms are online spaces where people pay through cryptocurrency to watch live-streamed rapes and murders. Little wonder it is called the darkest place on the internet. Many people argue that Red Rooms are nothing but myth, but others argue that these spots exist, and psychopaths meet there to fulfill their fantasies. If you're ever surfing the dark web, please make sure to be wary of the pop-up ads you find. The dark web is also used as a haven for human trafficking. Sadly, it is discovered that 2 out of 3 children sold for sex in the US are trafficked online. As such, there is a large market for child trafficking on the dark web. Aside from trafficking children, the type of content that draws the most traffic on the dark web is illegal pornography, mainly child porn. Devastatingly, child pornography draws about 80% of its web traffic. One popular child porn website called Lolita City has been taken down. However, before it was shut down, it contained over 100 gigabytes of child pornographic media and had over 15,000 members. In 2015, the FBI again took down another child pornography website on the dark web called Playpen, the largest one yet. The site had over 200,000 members, and it had other content such as sexualized torture, the killing of animals, and revenge porn. Interestingly, even though the dark web is portrayed as a dark criminal underground where the worst people in society congregate, it is not entirely bad. On one hand, the dark web offers protection to people who take their privacy and anonymity very seriously. The dark web is certainly the unseen of the internet, but it doesn't have to be a terrible place. It is only scary if you go looking for things that you don't want to see. What are your thoughts on the unseen of the internet? Is it a necessary evil just to have anonymity? Feel free to share with us what you think. After all, we are on the visible web. For more interesting videos like this, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, and turn on the bell notification so you never miss an upload. Thank you very much for watching.